All right. Hello. Welcome back. Chase Thomas Podcast, taping this on a Thursday night. First timer all the way down there in Camden County, Georgia. I first knew Coach Herron back when he was at Grayson because I'm a Parkview alum, and I got to go ahead and throw that out there from the start here, Coach, because there is some level of bias on that front for me in those early Grayson Parkview years. But Coach Jeff Herron is here, Camden County Wildcats coach. Good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Chase.
Pretty good, pretty good. How is it already too hot down in South Georgia at the moment?
You know, we had a few days. We just finished with spring practice, and of our 10 days, we only had about 2 that were really, really bad. And we finished up on Tuesday night. And the last 2 days, we've had afternoon storms. It's cooled everything off. So it's been actually pretty good for May.
What's different? Do you change your spring practice routine in Camden versus what you were doing back in the day in Grayson just because of the temps, or no?
Not really. Our kids are kind of used to the heat. I mean, we have it almost year round, so they're pretty used to that. And again, May is usually fairly comfortable, and we get a good breeze off the ocean down here, which makes it a little bit more bearable.
How did spring practice go? You said it just wrapped up here. Are you happy with how everything unfolded?
Yeah, I was very pleased. I mean, literally, we had 9 days of practice and inter squad game, and we had about as perfect a weather as you could get. And we went Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday the first week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday the second week, and then finished up this Monday and Tuesday, and didn't have any major injuries. We were extremely physical with them for 9 straight days, and 10 counting the game. So I felt like we had a really good spring.
Do you do full installs? Do you wait until the summer to get into that? How much do you really throw at them at this point in the calendar?
Well, I've always been one of those whole part whole guys, and we throw everything at them in the spring.
Okay.
And it's kind of, one of my coaches says, like throwing tomatoes at a wall, and we see what'll stick. But we throw more at them in the spring than we probably should. But we want to expose them to it. And, we got this dead week coming up. And so we give them actually about 2 weeks off. And then we come back in the summer, we start trying to go back and fix things. But, we do a ton of things in the spring, get it on camera. And then we come back and try to fix it and become a little more elementary during the summer, and hopefully just keep adding to it to get to the fall.
Do you take a break during this dead period to not watch football or think about football, or are you watching tape at this point?
Well, I have been this week. We actually had our end of the year coaches meeting today, and we're out of school tomorrow. And yes, I'll take about a week and a half where I will try not to think about too much. But we got to plan the summer, which we pretty much got that already done. But you can't ever get too far away from it. But I do try to take a little bit of time off.
When Jeff Herron gets away from it, though, what does he do? What does he like to do?
Well, this first week coming up here, I'm going to head to Florida.
Okay.
For us, is 6 miles, but we're going to go a little further south than that. And we're going to spend a week down there. We're going to come straight back, and then we're going to spend a week in Tennessee. So.
Oh, you're up here. What part of Tennessee are you coming up to?
Well, my wife's from Livingston, Tennessee.
Okay.
A little bit north of Cookeville, and we have a house there that, every chance we get, we thought we like to get up there. It's kind of our oasis, and we really enjoy being up there and getting away from everything.
Are you more of a mountain guy or a beach guy?
I probably would say mountain. I was born in Kingsport, and lived right across the state line in Gate City, Virginia, which was really, really in the mountains. The first college game I ever saw was at Knoxville, and worked at Tennessee Tech and for a couple of years. So I don't know. I like them both. I really do. I like the beach, but I do like the mountains as well, and feel like I'm a mountain boy at heart.
I love it. What do you think of Heupel's offense? Do you enjoy watching this Tennessee group the last couple of years?
I really have, and
Mm.
it's not my style,
Mm-hmm.
that's not me. But what he has done is very innovative, and it is fun to watch, and it is certainly, it has narrowed the gap for Tennessee and these other teams. And, certainly he's done a great job, and they know what they're doing. They have a system. They know what to go to when that people take certain things away. So, yeah, it's been fun to watch them.
Do you think if you get started, like this is year one for you in 2023, do you think your offensive style would be what it is now? Or do you think it's just because of how, when you got into coaching, you just kind of had an identity and you've obviously had to evolve some over the years, but do you think it would be a completely different thing versus what you do now?
It's hard to say.
Mm,
My high school coach, his philosophy is still kind of embedded in me.
mm,
I'd have grown up with a different high school coach, different philosophy, who knows? But, I learned a lot about this offense. I had a just wonderful opportunities to learn at the University of Delaware and stuff. But I've always felt like the number one thing about an offense is it's got to be a system that
mm,
answers. And it doesn't matter, run, pass, you have to have answers because anybody can take certain things away from you. And
mm.
you just have to know what to go to. It has to be a part of your offense. And, sometimes you get beat because people just have better players. But, sometimes you get beat because you don't have answers. And the offense that we run and, what Tennessee runs, are very similar in that respect. And I feel like, we have like that he has answers.
I like it. What are some early differences you're expecting from this year's team versus last year's team?
Well, first thing, we got off to a really slow start last year. It
Mm,
was very frustrating, and but we were really young, and we have a lot of guys this year back, and you could tell that in spring practice. You could tell it in our winter workouts. So we're hoping to get off to a little bit better start this year, and again, it's just this is the third year with these same kids. We've gotten better in the weight room. We've gotten better on the practice field, and now we need to show up and be even better on Friday nights.
absolutely. And the good thing is it's not like you're in this unbelievable crazy classification down there in South Georgia, right, coach? At least the competition's mild, to say the least. At least that's what you got going for you each and every year.
Yeah, yeah, it's like being in the SEC, and you just don't get any off weeks in our league.
No.
And but it makes it fun. I was
Mm,
a guy that called me about a job from Oklahoma, and I told
mm,
him, hey, listen, there is nothing like South Georgia football on a Friday night. There's
mm.
nothing like it.
What would you say is the best part of Camden County footballs on Friday night? Or Camden County football games on Friday night?
We're a one horse town, and
Mm,
there's nothing else here to do on Friday night. Everybody games. I mean, we had almost 4,000 people at our inner squad spring game on Tuesday night.
wow.
It's very, very good atmosphere to play and coach in. And, everybody loves football here. And again, it's a lot like the SEC, like a lot like the University of Tennessee. There's not a lot of other options here on the side.
Mm.
Everybody goes to the game. And just like that, probably the best thing.
What do you think is the strongest position group going into this summer for you? Where do you think you're the most set?
Well, again, we have a lot of people back, so I don't know that I could specify one position. We're really strong at safety. We're a little inexperienced at corner.
Mm,
We're pretty experienced, at linebacker. We've got a couple guys back up front, defensive line. So offensively, we're kind of real strong in the middle of our offensive line. We lost both our tackles that we're having to replace, but quarterbacks back, our running backs are back, receivers back. We've got a 5-star kicker. We've got a national. So all those things, makes me feel pretty good about going into this season.
I like it. Coach, when you were thinking about like last year and to this year. I imagine you're always doing some sort of self-evaluation after the season. What did you learn about yourself as a coach, or what changed, even if it's something small, from what you learned about last year versus this year?
I think in our business, you have to learn constantly, but
Mm,
primarily you have to learn what your kids are good at.
mm,
And again, people talk about offensively, what you do, what you don't do, all this stuff. But whether it's me or whether it's Josh Heupel, every team is different,
mm,
and you have to learn their strengths and their weaknesses. And so that's something that I've had to learn these kids here. Coming back to Camden County, it's not the same. I mean, it's there's a lot of things the same. I'm sitting at the same desk in the same office, but kids are different. The program's different, and so we've had to learn each other all over again. And again, that's taken a little more time than I actually thought it would. To be honest with you.
why do you think that is?
Well, I guess I just thought, well, I could just show back up and everything would be the same as it had been 9 years before.
Hmm.
Uh, but the good Lord humbled me there, and that first year back, we really struggled. And
Hmm.
um,
Did that light a
you
fire under you, though, in a weird way, where you're like, "Oh, this is cool. I have to work it. I have to. This isn't going to be easy."
Well, it absolutely did.
Mm,
There's no question. I was one of the most frustrating years, of coaching, just because we had
hmm.
great kids and we had a lot of talent. Um, but we lost. We lost all three of our region. Well, we lost three of our region games in the last minute of the game, and
Mm,
we lost to Colquitt in overtime. We lost to Tift County with under 2 minutes to go, and we lost to Lowndes with 14 seconds to go. And we just couldn't finish games, and
mm,
that was an eye-opening experience. And heck, we between my first year and my second year, we lost 8 straight games, and we hadn't lost 8 games here before in a
yeah.
decade. So it definitely humbled me. It definitely made me evaluate everything we were doing with our program. But you know, the kids that I came back to, the kids that I inherited, they didn't know anything about me or anything about our program. uh, you know, they were in elementary school when I was here
Yeah.
before, if that. So just had to kind of start over. It was just like taking a new job.
Mm.
And, now we've had them 3 years, and they've kind of become our guys, and they know what to expect. And so that's helped a lot.
I like it. Who was a tape hero for you last year? I'm always curious about this kind of thing. So, folks, the 4,000 who did not grind the tape throughout this past fall for you and did not see on the stat sheet that this guy was, or it could be multiple guys who really you were impressed with, and you needed week in, week out, who did a lot of the little things that no one really noticed from the outside.
Last year's team,
Yeah, last year's team.
well, gosh, there were several.
Mm,
One that jumps out is an offensive lineman named Caden Thompson.
okay.
Uh, he's just a tremendous high school offensive lineman.
Mm,
That's never going to play in the SEC because of size and stuff like that. But he really made things go. And one that was a little more visible was Jake Lindsey. I mean, I think people
mm,
knew who he was, but Jake's going to West Point. He was just that guy that did everything right. Inspired everybody on the field, and just his play and how hard he played certainly lifted everybody up. But we had a lot of them. That's
mm.
the beauty of high school football. There's so many of those kids out there like that.
Is there going to be, for the folks and for the fans watching this down in Camden, Coach, is there going to be a big change in what they're seeing this fall with the Wildcats versus what they saw last year? Do you foresee a lot of schematic changes, style changes for them, or is it going to look a lot like what we saw this past year?
Well, I think we're going to be a little different. We've tweaked some things defensively and brought in a couple of coaches on defense. I think are really going to help us.
Mm,
We've gotten a little more multiple there, and my coaches they don't believe me, but I keep telling them that we're transitioning to a West Coast, more of a West Coast style of offense.
okay.
But we really are.
Mm,
We have some kids right now. that can run and catch, and our receiver core is a little bit better. Our quarterback's another year older, and we're certainly going to try to move our offense, a little more towards Bill Walsh type stuff that he used to do. Because he was very much a wing T concept guy
Mm.
running the ball, but they had a whole lot of really good stuff from a short passing game too, and getting Jerry Rice the ball and all those guys. So we're kind of, I don't know what we'll call it. We ain't figured that out yet, but we are. We
Multiple
spent,
wing T.
yeah, we spent some time studying that in the off
Yeah,
season, and certainly trying to make that transition a little bit.
I like it. If I had to poll every player who's played for Coach Herron throughout your career, what do you think their answer would be the hardest thing about learning your system actually is?
Well, I don't know if they'd say what learning would be, but
Or even
we
playing for you? What do you think is the hardest about playing for you? What do you think they would say?
well, I would think, how kids are. They used to think all the ones that played 20 years ago think it was a lot harder then than it is
Everyone
now.
always does that. Yeah.
But we have always we've practiced very hard. Uh, we've tried to be very physical, um, and I think we've tried to be known for that. Our
Mm,
physicality on Friday nights and stuff. So to do that, you have to work that way. You have to
mm,
practice that way. And so I think, we do things like go to camps at West Georgia that I think if most of them would tell you that going to camp at West Georgia or going to camp when we go to Epworth,
mm.
uh, those were probably the hardest things that they have endured, but also probably the most enjoyable things that they've endured when they look back on it. But playing for us is not easy. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty much a year-round commitment, but I think you have to be that way. If you're going to be successful in 7A football in Georgia, you pretty much have to do that.
Like you said, it's the SEC. I tell folks up here, like I go to these games on Friday nights and Thursdays for the rivalry Thursday stuff, and like growing up in Lilburn and just seeing the talent in Gwinnett County back in the day, and it's a lot more sparse now, but it's just different. Like you just go back down to a Class 7A game in the fall now versus, I mean, the highest classification here in Knoxville and East Tennessee. It's just different players, different dudes, and it's kind of jarring to see how different these guys are in the level of athleticism across the board.
Well, Georgia had more draft picks, I think,
Yeah.
than any other state, and it's not surprising. I mean, it's just Georgia's a unique situation where you have a lot of really, really good players, and
Mm-hmm.
you also have a lot of programs where the administration, the community support football really well, and so there's a lot of money put into it.
Mm-hmm.
Combination of facilities and coaching and athletes, it makes for really, really good high school football. And honestly, maybe it wasn't the best in the state when it started or in the nation, 4 or 5 years ago, but I certainly think it is now.
I tend to agree. Your Camden go-to eating spot is where for the good folks traveling through? Where should they stop? Where is Coach Herron gone?
Well, it used to be Lang's, which is a
Okay.
seafood place down on the river, but they have actually changed the name now. We had a hurricane hit a few years ago, and they actually sold it. And I ate there Saturday night,
Uh
but I don't know the name of it. But
huh. Was it just
uh,
as good or no?
oh yeah, it was really
Okay.
good. We had to wait a long time because there was a lot of stuff going on. It was very crowded, but it was worth it. And it's beautiful. It sits down on the St. Mary's River,
Mm.
and we got some great seafood down here.
What's your seafood order? Are you a salmon guy? Are you a trout guy? Catfish? What are we doing?
Oh no, 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 no.
Okay.
We're going fried shrimp all the way.
Fried shrimp all the way. Okay.
Absolutely.
I like it. I like it. Coach, as we end up wrapping up, one quick final question. Your summer vacation, where are you going? I know you got Tennessee and everything else. And if not even just where you're going now, what's your favorite summer getaway in just your adulthood? What was your favorite summer getaway?
Well, when I was a kid,
Mm,
I didn't go. I'd never seen a beach until I was probably about 13 years old. So I've
mm,
always loved going to the beach. But we do have a spot in Florida that we try to go to, and when I was younger, we would go to a lake in Tennessee called Death Hollow, and we would get a houseboat, and our kids grew up loving that. But now we still go to Florida, and we still like to just go to our house in Livingston, and going to Livingston's a getaway for me because nobody knows me there, nobody calls me coach there, and I can just relax. And we've got about 10 acres, and so it's just kind of nice and private.
Okay. Have you seen any black bears?
No, I have not. We've got
Okay.
some out. There's a farm out there. We have a farm out, but I'm sure there's probably some out there. But my kids are the hunters, not me. Unless they come to town, I'm not going to see them.
I like it. Coach, how do the good folks down in Camden, Georgia and South Georgia all together support your program and come out and see you and support just the Camden County Wildcats this summer?
Well, they're great. We've got some of the best friends, or the best support in the country. There's no, honestly, that was one of the things I missed when I was in Gwinnett County. Again, you go to Lounge or Valdosta, Colquitt, Camden on a Friday night, you're going to have a full house, and it's a great environment for our kids to play in. It's a great environment to coach in.
I love it. Well, good luck to you, Coach, this summer. Fingers crossed for no injuries and just fun, and keep it up with everything at Camden. It's cool to see you back coaching. You're a coaching legend in the state of Georgia, and I'm glad that you're there. And I'm excited to see what the Wildcats do this fall.
All right, Chase, I appreciate it. I got to ask now.
Yeah.
I see a Tennessee player. I'm on my phone, so I can't see it good. But who's the Tennessee player
Oh, that's
behind?
Peyton Manning right there.
I got
So I
you.
got Peyton Manning. I've got Ben Matlock, noted
Yeah.
Atlanta trial attorney.
Yes.
Andy Griffith, Minna
Yep.
Mayberry with him and Barney Fife. Then we got Doc Rivers,
Yeah.
Atlanta Hawks from way back in the day. So and we got a big Braves banner behind me too. So we're prepared.
Sound like a man after my own heart.
There you go. I mean, what's your are you basketball, baseball, or do you keep up? Are you watching the NBA playoffs right now? Are you all in on the Lakers? What's happening here? Do you have another side to you that people don't know about? It's not all ball.
Not really. I mean, I watch the NBA when the playoffs get to this point. That's about it. I might watch the Braves once or twice a year, a few innings. Football's on, I'm going to watch it. Not a huge fan until the playoffs. Basketball, NCAA basketball, I love when the tournament starts. But I'm not going to sit there and watch it on weeknights and stuff. Honestly, I watch a lot of football film and try to learn. So that's about it.
There you go. Well, the Tennessee, hey, if you want to expand to the Tennessee style, more power to you, Coach. I'm here for it. If we can establish that pipeline from Camden County to Tennessee here, I'm all the way here for it.
Good deal. We'd love to get some guys in orange, that's for sure.
I love to hear that. Coach, thank you so much, and we'll have to check back in before the season gets started.
All right, thank you.
Well done, nephew. Chase Thomas Podcast. Hell yeah.